I guess bottom line, I paid $300 for this rifle, and I don't feel like I got fucked. Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. My boy's birthday was recently, and I decided it was time. I bought him a 1022. A new one, too. And for comparison in the video, we got the 1022 that my dad bought me when I was his age. This video isn't going to have any shooting in it or anything. It's a 1022. It functions, perfectly. The only issues that we have with it are the absolute fucking dog shit ammo that we shoot through it. But me and him probably put 500 or so rounds through it, and the only issues we ever had were the ammo. I think that this is like the lightweight model. It's quite short, and it is really light. This is the gun for kids. My boy likes to shoot it from like a rest, because he doesn't like holding the thing up, because he's, a kid. But he gets it along pretty good. 1022, 22 long rifle, Ruger, Newport, New Hampshire, USA. It's great that these are still made in the US. First things first. Look at these magazines. Ruger's classic 10-shot rotary magazine. These things are interesting, but I will not be taking that apart. Because if you've ever taken apart a magazine like that, it's got a rotary spring in it. And I've made the unfortunate mistake of tangling with rotary springs before. It never comes out. It never works out very well. So I'm just going to leave that assembled. If you're dying to know what the inside looks like, I'm sure you could Google it. But versus my magazine from like 20 years ago, this one's mine, this one's his. I'd say they look pretty close. The, I don't know what you call this feed thing. The feed thing here on the new one is cast. This one, well, it also looks like it was cast, but that's a weird texture on it. Why isn't it almost porous like the boys? I wonder if I didn't just get bored when I was a kid and take some sandpaper to this just to, I don't know, alleviate some childish frustrations or something. I don't know. Mine is quite dirty. Yeah, they appear to be identical. Nothing on it's changed in all this time. And to take it apart, there's a single 5/32 hex key at the bottom. And that's it. That's the only thing that holds this together. The stock is entirely plastic. I don't know how to tell kinds of plastics, like if this is, what is it, ABS or glass nylon reinforced or whatever the fuck else. Plastics aren't really my area of study. But yeah, it's entirely plastic. It isn't that like weird Hogue rubber plastic that comes on like new Remington 700s and shit. It's completely plastic, but it doesn't feel weird. It's not near as squishy as what the new Remington stocks are. It's got a brass... shit, I don't even know what to call that thing. It's cast right into the stock. It's not coming out. It's to, give the screw some bite so it doesn't work itself out. That's pretty much it. There really isn't a whole lot to the stock. For the action, we'll compare it to mine. Take mine apart, you need a flathead screwdriver. As you can see, mine is about 6 inches longer than his. Sounds about right, don't you think? Oh, I guess I should have mentioned, this one's like 20 years old. I bought this one this year in 2021. I'm not sure if you can like run serial numbers to find when Ruger, when 1022s were made, but we'll just call this a 2021 production, and we'll call this one like, fuck, 2002, 3, I don't remember. I guess visually looking at it, other than the rear sight, there really isn't anything different between them. Though I wonder, is this from 2005? I can't for the life of me remember. This right here is like a setting that you put like in the die that the trigger housings were cast in. That should be like a year and a date, or a year and a month, I guess. So you know, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock is empty. Then 6 o'clock. Was this made June 2005? I'm not sure, because I can't remember how old I was when I got this. The Boys doesn't have that. But yeah, to remove the trigger housing, trigger group from the receiver, you just got to push these 2 pins. Mine ought to fall right out just because of how many times I've had it apart. So the pins on mine were 186 thousandths, that's 3/16. Pins on his, 185 thousandths. Close enough. That's within a margin of error. My trigger group is a complete solid cast piece of aluminum. His is injection molded plastic. Huh. I have no way to tell what kind of plastic this is made out of because I don't know plastics very well. I'd like to hope that this isn't just good old-fashioned cast McDonald's toy plastic, but it is just a 22. A 22 for a kid, nonetheless. Yeah, but I've always liked this pin that runs all the way through right here, and how the bolt hits it. It's an over-travel stop. It's you bang that pin out to you know, remove the bolt. There. Oh wow, that's in pretty tight. Mine just falls right out, I swear. Yeah, look, I didn't even have to... I wonder if it's just because mine's so old. Like there's paint on the inside of the hole for this one, which is why it doesn't come out very easy. Are you fucking kidding me? That's like an interference fit. Jesus fuck. They make these things for kids. How's a kid gonna get this thing out? Hey Dad, can I use your 20-ton press? Oh sure, son. Fucking hell. I'm trying not to gouge the shit out of my boy's rifle. Let's see. That looks like a 1/4 inch. 249 thousandths. Let's see what this hole is. 249 thousandths. That was an interference fit. I'm gonna save my boy some hassle. Yeah, it feels just like there was paint on it. Whatever they coated these with got inside the holes, which is why it went on so fucking tight. There. save my boy a heap of trouble. Oh, and then the bolt just comes right out. Charging handle and spring. 22s aren't particularly clean firing weapons. That amount of filth in there is completely normal. And like I said earlier, we didn't have any problems with the gun. It was all just, you know, the cheap ammo. They can never quite get all of it. Never quite get all the paint in there. I don't think it'd have been that hard, but then again, you don't want to go painting the bolt raceways, because then your bolt would rub off all the paint, get stuck, and it would, you know, function like shit. It's hardly an issue. Mine's about the same way. It's just mine's gray, so you can't see the contrast of the paint and the aluminum. It's no biggie. Here's my bolt. Here's the boy's bolt. They're pretty much identical. Why is mine so much more shinier than his? Are these cast? They are. Look at that. Well, I don't want to say porosity, because porosity is a bad thing, but it's almost got a porous texture on it, and that always happens with casting. It's not porosity, because that would be air bubbles in your part. It's just an odd texture. The whole thing is cast, but then it's milled out, or no, that's ground. The whole thing is cast, and then the edges are ground, so it's the right size and everything, so everything, you know, goes good. And it's hard to tell, but like inside this channel, this one, that doesn't appear to be, you know, shiny like all the other stuff. That's cast right in. They don't cut that out. That's part of the casting. That's interesting. I honestly think that I took a shitload of sandpaper to mine and just polished it up, because I probably saw on, like, you know, circa 2009 YouTube that, you know, smooth parts run better in guns or something, and or maybe I was just bored and liked how shiny it looked. But yeah, there's no difference at all between my bolt and the boy's bolt. I wish I had talked to my dad, so I could have, like, borrowed his 1022 that he bought in the 80s and compared all three. But that sounds kind of like the shit where we all get together and take a fucking family photo, and you know what, it just didn't seem worth it. Look at this seam. You can see it. It doesn't run all the way through the part, which is weird. Ruger does a lot of casting, like a lot of their shit. Casting is a hell of a lot easier to do than, like, forging or anything, and stuff like this, you can get away with it easily. It's just a 22. I guess I've just gotten so involved with guns and stuff that I have a hard time looking at a rifle, you know, a 22 caliber rifle, and thinking of it as anything other than a toy. I know that's the kind of thinking that gets people killed, but fuck, what can I say? The sights on these, you know, the orange glow and the green glow. Maybe I'm getting old enough to where I need to put my goddamn glasses on to read things all the time. I don't know. I just don't like it. Astigmatism. Alright, now let's get into the trigger groups. Now, it has been a long time since I've taken one of these apart. We'll start with the boys since it's new. Just start pushing pins and hope springs don't fly. Oh shit. Now there we go. Oh, that's... what the fuck? Oh, that's exactly like on mine. I've just forgotten. I can't lose that. That's small. Oh, shit. That's exactly what I was worried would happen. Alright. Hammer and disconnector. Disconnector is steel. That's good. What are those circles? What is this? I don't know. Is this steel? Definitely. This connector is steel. The trigger is fucking cast plastic. Wait, what is this? What is this piece? I can't fucking remember what this is called. Because it's like a two-piece disconnector. It's... ugh. The trigger is fucking plastic. And this other fucking disconnector piece, I can't remember. Jeez. It's also steel. The hammer feels like aluminum. It looks like cast aluminum. Where's my magnet? Oh shit, no, I was wrong as shit. It looks like aluminum just because it was cast and it's got that weird texture to it and all these smooth edges. This is probably a cast steel piece. Now I wonder. And we'll pick an unimportant place. This is a hardened piece. It's harder than my file. So this is probably fucking shit. What tool steel do they cast? S7 tool steel, and it's hard as fuck. That's probably what these other two metal pieces are made out of too. What about this guy? Is he file hard? Looks like. That's good. That's good right there. Injector. I've never fucking used these things. I don't know. Actually, I took mine out just because I never used it. Oh, it also doesn't have an ejector. It's around here somewhere, but like this lip right here on the magazine also works as an ejector. If you're using, you know, normal Ruger magazines, you can get by without this piece. I don't have any of the 25 rounders or anything, so it was never an issue, so I just never bothered to put it back on. And I've shot this gun a lot. My gun probably easily has 5,000 to 7,000 rounds through it, just because I was a kid. That's what boys do. I'd sit in my dad's backyard. You know, nobody was home. And I got my fucking Walmart special box of Blazer for like $21, and that was fucking highway robbery 10 years ago when I bought this box. It's full of random bullshit now because all the ammo's gone, but yeah. I just go through a box of these in an afternoon, just cutting limbs off of trees pretty much. You know, small ones, but still. This shit was a lot of fun. It sucks I live in town and my boy can't do that shit, but I also did some pretty fucking irresponsible stuff, too, so... I don't know, silver linings, I guess. The magazine release is also entirely injection molded plastic. I'm a bit disappointed with just the amount of fucking plastic on this thing. But it's a 22 for a kid. It's a toy, pretty much. This is the kind of gun that you buy for a kid so they can like learn how to shoot and learn to keep their goddamn fingers off the triggers and not point it at people and shit. And you could like kill squirrels with it and shit, and groundhogs, and yeah. Not with this 22, the other one. I'll do a review of that one sometime because it's my favorite 22. It's not a Ruger, but I have killed so many fucking animals with it, it's disturbing. You can see my homemade trigger job, probably polished to 120 grit because I didn't know shit about sandpaper when I was a kid. How amusing. A trip down memory lane. Let's see if I can't remember how to put one of these things back together. Well, we'll start with the trigger. I remember that was the first time I had ever taken a 1022 apart. Was before I even had my own. I had borrowed my dad's to go shooting with my other side of the family, like my mom's side of the family, and I borrowed my dad's 22. Well, I didn't give it back to him for a couple days, and I had it like in my room, and I'd stay up really late at night, you know, and just finger fuck this gun like crazy. Just 'cause that's what boys do. Oh, did you see that? And I took it apart, and I had no idea how to get it back together. Not dissimilar to what's going on right now, except I know I can. I didn't know I could back then. And I popped it all apart, and it was just a total mess out in front of me like this, just like what it is right now. And I had no idea how to get it back together. And it was like that, oh shit moment that if you've ever taken anything apart and you got springs flying out all over the place, and you're like, oh god. I made the mistake of taking apart a Remington 500C, you know, the 20 gauge Remington, fucking Mossberg 500C, a 20 gauge Mossberg shotgun. I made the mistake of taking apart the trigger group. God, I'll never do that again. Oh shit, where was this spring? What the fuck is that? Oh no. Oh shit, no, I know. I forgot. That little spring goes on top of here. And then the whole thing goes together. Slide it in nice and easy. Put this plunger in. Get your 1/8 inch pin. Oh, give it a twist. See if you can't. Ha. Ha ha. Nice. That's real loose. Gotta watch that. a spring there. Do we come down under it? No, the spring holds it down. It's gotta be like that. That isn't right. Fuck, I wish I had looked at this thing harder before just going and taking it apart. No, you see, this is a perfect example of why just diving right the fuck in on something can be very informative. I could have swore I knew how to take these things apart. And I was right. I did. And I also could have swore that I knew how to put them back together. And, I'm doing okay. I haven't given up on it yet. Whenever I took that Mossberg... Fucking bastard. Is this the wrong pin? No, they're both loose as fuck. What the fuck is that shit? I have to beat some of these pins out and I have to... Mine doesn't do that. None of those pins just fall right out. Another complaint. That loose as fuck pin. Son of a bitch. I'm not gonna cheat. I'm not gonna just look it up. I could Google the schematic of it and find which way the spring's facing. Oh, but that's cheating. What the fuck is this? Son of a bitch. I used the wrong fucking pin. That's the problem. There we go. Okay. That's looking better. No, that wasn't the problem at all. It's that this hole is too big. I used the wrong pin, but it didn't matter because the hole was still too big. That's why this thing keeps falling out. Wow, that's fucking annoying. How are we supposed to... I'm unhappy with these pins. If anything, you know, the 1/4-inch pin that holds the bolt into the action, that one ought to be the one that just falls out because it's retained when it's inside the stock. If you ever have the thing apart, like what I do now, everything's just going to come flying out. Oh, so now you don't want to just fall out, you son of a bitch. How the fuck did this go together? Alright, we'll do something else to, you know, keep me sane. Put the fucking hammer back in. I just remember that's got to be sticking up. Probably shouldn't dry fire this because it'll bounce against the plastic housing and fuck it up. Great. Okay. That's handled. If this spring went around this pin... Motherfucker. I'm gonna look it up. This is pissing me off. I know that kind of goes against everything that I just said, but I'm not sitting here all night doing this shit. It goes around the fucking trigger, or the hammer pin. like this. Alright. It's got to be like this. I've tried every other combination. Alright. Now this fucking plate. Or I guess I should put this... And then we'll just get this pin started. You son of a bitch. Holy fucking hell. I'm gonna glue that thing in. Alright, now we'll get the spring. The bent edge. We'll get it to rest in the notch on the bolt hold open. And then there. Oh shit. Fuck. Okay, and then we'll have the spring underneath it. Drop the hammer. Put this thing in. Have the rounded part of the end of it in the channel of the hammer. Hey, there we go. All back together. And it even works. Now, I briefly considered taking the barrel off just to get a better look at the, you know, inside of the receiver and the top of this lug and everything, but I don't like taking 1022 barrels off just because of how they go together, and you have to screw it on and everything. Whenever you put it back on, it should only go into one position because of like the dovetail that's on it and everything, but I could almost swear that whenever I did that to mine, I put the barrel on and then I didn't like tension the screws evenly enough, and that the barrel was slightly twisted. It might just be my own paranoia. I mean, that's likely what it is, since they're dovetailed on and they should only go into one spot. But I'm not going to do it just so I don't have to worry about the boy's gun having funky sights. But I mean, shit, you shoot enough, you get to the point where you don't even really have to aim. Whenever I was a kid, my dad smoked, and we'd be out shooting BB guns and he'd be smoking, and I asked Dad to let me shoot the you know, the cherry off a cigarette, you know, with my BB gun. He let me, and you know what, nobody got shot. It was a big laugh. That's the kind of, you know, the stories that he sits around and tells whenever he's talking about us as kids and shit. It's great fun. I'm not gonna let my fucking kid do that, but he let me do it. Alright, let's get her back together. What is this? Charging handle. Yeah, it's a cast piece. Everything on here is cast. See the texture. Or is it? I don't know. You know, I think that this is a milled piece. Well, look at the corners. Look at how round they are. If this was milled, those corners would be sharper. This isn't a milled piece. This is cast. It's gotta be. Feel free to correct me in the comments, though. And you remember in my KR9 video where I said that the holes, the circles on the metal injection molded parts, you know, that's where it was injected at. That was incorrect. Metal injection molding has a bunch of pins on the inside of the mold that push. Like the mold is, you know, clamped, and then it opens up, and then the pins push the part out. And that's what those were from. Somebody in the comments had corrected me. Thank you. I forget your name. But that is what I was thinking of, because these are definitely injection molded. And these circles are where the liquid plastic had flowed in to fill the cavity of the mold. And now, before I go getting accused of living 35 miles outside of Newport, New Hampshire, I'm kidding, Dennis. I hope you watched this video. Now, I really am not a big fan of metal injection molding on firearms, and I'm especially not a big fan of plastic, injection molded plastic on firearms. That's kind of fucked. But, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's a 22. My 22 trigger housing is a cast piece of aluminum. I'd imagine there was some finish work done to it. If you look, you can see the paint is thick as fuck. And I think they paint these things thick as fuck to hide that really porous texture that you get from casting. Like at the top of the boy's bolt. There's nothing wrong with that. It just doesn't look that great. Which is probably, why they painted that so thickly. But injection moldable plastic is a hell of a lot cheaper than aluminum. And you get a lot less wear on your dies whenever you're doing it too. So you can make a whole hell of a lot of these, a whole hell a lot more of these than you can of these for like the same amount of money. I don't imagine there's a whole huge difference in injection molding plastic and injection molding aluminum, other than you don't have to have like massive vats of molten aluminum laying around. I don't know. I haven't done any casting. This is just from my own deductions. I'm not an expert. I encourage you to correct me when I'm wrong so I can update my information. But that's the way that I see it. From an engineering standpoint, it makes a whole lot of sense to do something as cheaply as possible. I hate to use this phrase, and I might get some shit for it, but if it's just as good for less money, why wouldn't you? It makes absolute sense from an engineering standpoint, from a business standpoint. If you're selling something, you want it to be as cost-effective as possible. You don't want to have to be putting all this extra work into something, because that adds to the total cost. The rifle cost me $300. That might seem a bit steep these days, but I'm not sure. It's a 1022. It'll last forever. And not to mention, since it's a 1022, it's got one of the biggest aftermarkets of any gun out there, probably except for the AR-15. I used to see threads on 4chan about guys talking about you build a Ruger 1022 using no Ruger parts just because of the enormous aftermarket for it. You get like a Volquartsen receiver and shit, and then just a whole bunch of other... Oh, that's some funny stuff. You can build an entire 1022 without using any Ruger parts, just because of the size of the aftermarket of these rifles. That's amazing. When these things came out in the 60s, I don't know if they were hugely popular then. I imagine they were, though. I don't know. Ruger, since then, has made fucking millions of these. At least. I don't know the actual numbers. I'll look it up whenever I'm editing, and I'll broadcast it on the screen. Like that many millions of these rifles. It's because they're good guns. Instead of having to dick around with aluminum, plastic is just so much easier to work with, which makes sense. Alright, let's get back to putting it all the fuck together. Oh, that's right. I remember how fucking annoying this was. In order to put the channel, to get the bolt and its corresponding channel on the charging handle lined up and into the receiver, you have to put this in and then pull the charging handle all the way back. But since there's no support, you know, on the left and right side, this will bend and then lock itself against this rod. So you have to squeeze it from like the spring end and then hold it back. Oh shit. Oh, there we go. Let's see if my fuckery with the drill bit helped out. Oh man, that goes in so much easier. Yeah, I covered up the serial number. That's what the tape is. Get over it. Alright. We'll get her all put back together. So do I think it's a good buy? Yeah. Would I recommend that you get one? Well, I mean, everybody should have a 1022. Maybe not this specific model. Even though I'm quite tall. This rifle is quite short. I don't know the overall length. That would be easily Googleable information, though. And I was shooting this gun, too, and it wasn't near as unpleasant as what I thought it would be, considering its, you know, size and length. It's a relatively short length of pole, but, you know, since I'm such a big fan of Slav shit, that really isn't that big a deal to me. I don't have my fucking tape measure. I have no idea where it is. Does this 22 have a longer fucking length of pole than my Tantal? No, they're about the same. They are the fucking same. Whatever the length of pole of a fucking Polish Tantal is the same as this fucking 22. Of course, this gun is made for children who don't have long arms. I'd imagine manlets would love this too. As far as first guns go, I mean, it's not like you can go wrong with it. I guess bottom line, I paid $300 for this rifle, and I don't feel like I got fucked. Of course, as always, all the fucking plastic on it. I haven't seen any of the other, you know, normal model 1022s. I hope that they don't make all of them out of fucking injection molded plastic. But this is the Featherlight version. It's supposed to be as light as possible, and if you go making all of these extra pieces out of, you know, metal instead of plastic, that weight adds up. So yeah, I guess, to put it in layman's terms, if, like, the big igloo breaks out and I have to go to war, I'm not going to be taking this 22. Believe it or not. But it's a 22. It's a kid's 22. This is perfectly acceptable for what it is. And since it's perfectly acceptable even for adults to shoot, this is something that maybe he can give to his kids or his adopted corgis if he, you know, starts a Discord when he's older or something. Oh, no, but I got this from a local gun shop. Well, it's semi-local. It's on my way home from work. I kind of don't like going to that place. Oh. I kind of don't like going to that place because they fucking price gouge for ammo. They always have, even before all the fucking bullshit of, like, the last, I don't even know how long, 2 years. they've always charged too much for ammo. But the thing about that, though, is that they always had ammo on their shelves. Even in the middle of the Koof panic, I walk in without a mask like the pompous fucking asshole that I am. And the dudes behind the counter don't give a fuck. And, you know, they still got some ammo on the shelves. They don't have everything. Nowhere did. But the guys behind the counter, they're all right people. And so I get, you know, just what little shit I need. I think I bought 32 auto from there. I spent $40 fucking on like 50 rounds of 32 auto. Good God. But I needed it right then, and they had it, so I'm not gonna fucking bitch about getting gouged. I could have bought it cheaper on the internet, but I didn't. Because I needed it then, today, right now. So I stopped in there after work, on the way home. And I'm looking at their rack of guns. They got, you know, all of the just fucking boring bullshit that you could imagine. And I get to the 22s, and I see the shortest 22, and I'm like, alright, that one. And, like, they slide me the 4473, and I fill it out lightning quick. And, I slide the 4473 back across the counter, and I set my concealed carry license down on it. In my state, if you have a concealed carry license, you don't have to get the background check. You still have to do the 4473, but they don't have to call it into the FBI and make sure that you aren't a felon or a prohibited person or any of that shit. Because if you were, you wouldn't have been able to get a concealed carry license. So I stand there for a minute, and the guy, the employee, not the owner, not the proprietor, he grabs my 4473, my concealed carry license, and he fucking walks away with it. And the proprietor of this establishment is walking around doing something. I don't know what he's doing. And I say to him, is he calling it in? And he looks at me like he has this conversation pretty often. And he's like, yeah, well... And I said, I have my concealed carry license. And he gives me the, well, yeah, but... You know, I'd sure hate for... And I'm like, oh, fucking okay. Great. You've just added all of this fucking hassle to my fucking day. Now I have to wait, you know, 10 extra fucking minutes so you can go call the FBI even though you legally don't have to. Just fucking annoyed. He's going well out of his way because, oh, well, you know, you could have got, you know, a felony yesterday and then you hid your concealed carry card. And I'm like, what stupid motherfucker is taking a 1022 to a mass shooting? I mean, I know it's happened. There was I think it was in Cleveland, Ohio, some kid in the 70s took their, it was a girl. She took her 1022 into school and shot a bunch of people. Yeah, that shit's fucked. But, like, I guess it was more of a personal insult. Or maybe a perceived personal insult than anything else, you know, because I am quite involved with this stuff. I've got, you know, 75 round drums and like fucking crates of 5.45 and shit. Oh fuck, that's another thing. Oh Jesus, we'll save that for another video. I've got, if I were to do a fucking mass shooting, I would not fucking do it with a 1022 I bought that day. So I'm annoyed as fuck that this dude is calling it in. I haven't had to, you know, have my fucking name run through the FBI since, man, it was a long time. It was when I bought my Glock. Well, it was like right after I turned 21, I bought my Glock. Because I didn't have my concealed carry. No, fuck. No, fuck, no, I did. I didn't have my concealed carry license at the time, and then I bought my Glock, and then like 2 weeks later, I went to the concealed carry class, and then I got that shit the next week. That was the last time that I had had my name run through the system all that time ago. My Glock is old as fuck. And, fucking hell, that was several years ago. Man. Shit, I keep getting distracted. So I'm standing in the store, leaning up against the counter, talking to the proprietor, and he's like trying to distract me about how his like stupid faggy store policy is that, you know, they run background checks for fucking everybody. And I'm like, my boy's birthday is on Monday. Well, I told him that before that. Fuck. Well, yeah, whenever I was looking at, whenever I was, you know, handling the rifle, I had told the dude behind the counter, like, yeah, my boy's birthday's on Monday. So I stand there for like 15 minutes and talk to this like 50-year-old boomer. You know, he's probably a casual drinker, been divorced once, has a girlfriend and a boat, you know the kind. And he's trying to fucking distract me from his stupid bullshit with, oh man, did you hear about Canada? I didn't, but I said I did. I don't know what the fuck happened in Canada in, you know, early June. Or maybe he was just talking about Canadians in general. I have no idea. And 15 minutes go by, and the wagey that he has walks back, and he's got my paper, my 4473, my concealed carry license, and he's holding a cordless phone. And he said, Nix is down. The FBI background check system was down. He had called like 7 or 8 times, and like the call had just dropped or something. I don't know how it works, but occasionally the FBI, who does the background checks, they'll get flooded, or a system will go down, you know, like a computer crashes or some shit. I don't know the specifics of it, but at that moment it had gone down. So because of this dude's fucking retard store policy, I'm thinking that I'm not going to get this gun. And I'm thinking of other gun stores that I've been to that are less retarded than those guys. And I stand there for a minute. And he looks at me, the proprietor looks at me, and then he looks at the gun, and then he looks at the employee, and he's like, just give it to him. And I was very appreciative. And I told him, thank you for breaking store policy for me. I'm sure my boy will appreciate it. And he looks at me and gives me half a fucking smile, and I spend $40 on 200 rounds of fucking .22. So after all that fucking bullshit, they just gave it to me. They didn't do a background check because they didn't fucking have to. It's like, why didn't you do that, 20 minutes ago when I walked through the fucking door and said I wanted to buy a .22? I will never buy another gun in that establishment. There's another gun store just across town from me. It was actually the gun store where I had my KR9 transferred to. And he charges $15 for transfers. He only deals with concealed carry license holders for transfers, which I am one. And I sent him an email, and I said, I want to have this gun transferred. And he said, yeah. So then, 2 weeks later, not even, it wasn't even 2 weeks. I can't remember how long it was. It wasn't 2 weeks. It was 9 days. My rifle's sitting on the shelf at his store. So I walk in there, and he's got the 4473 already laid out. And he said, and he's got it facing me. And he said, first name. You know, like first name, last name, all that shit. Social security number optional. Don't write it down. And I didn't. And then he said, he got to the questions, you know, the 10 questions. They're all no, but one of them. And he said, this one is yes. The rest are no. I had that 4473 done in 60 seconds. And he slid the rifle right across the counter. It was still in the box and everything, but he slid the shit across the counter. I slipped him $15 for the transfer, and he said, thank you, have a nice day. What a guy. I like that guy. I really don't think that he'll be the kind of person who you have to, you know, prod too hard to get to burn his bound book whenever things start heating up. So after all the fucking bullshit that I go through to get this fucking 22, the next day, me and the boy are out shooting it. And he's a bit unfamiliar with the pattern, but he's picking it up pretty quick just because it's fun. And what better way to learn than having fun? And after, you know, the first 100 rounds, he's like, is that it? You know, that's the kind of thing you do as parents. You buy 2 presents, and then you surprise the kid with the first one, and he thinks that's it. And then you give him the second one. It's a double surprise. It makes it even better. So I pull this, you know, extra sleeve of 100 rounds out, and he's like, oh, nice. And he shoots a little bit more. He's having a hard time figuring out the magazine, so I'm loading for him, but he's doing everything else all on his own. It's beautiful. And I hand him a loaded magazine, and he puts the magazine in, and he cocks it, and he shoulders the rifle. It's resting on like a pile of towels or some shit. And he goes to take the first shot, but then he stops. And he unhunches his shoulders. And he looks back at me. It's just that look that kids give. And he says, I'm going to shoot these ones as fast as I can. And I look down at him, and I just give him that parental half grin of approval. So then he hunches back up, and it's just bang, 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 as fast as he can. It's 2 seconds. And it clicks on empty on the 11th shot, and he turns his head, and he looks up at me, and he just has the shittest eating grin. Just that kind of smile that only a little boy being destructive can get. That's the kind of shit. I'll be the first person to tell you that being a parent kind of fucking sucks, actually. Jesus Christ. Kids are so fucking stupid, and they're boring. But it's shit like that you know, it makes being a parent fucking worth it. It's just that very small spark. My boy's first mag dump. I can't wait to get him out with like the SKS, teach him how to bump fire, teach him about Randy Weaver.